Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Greer Industries, improving people's lives for more than a century.
Meteorologist Joe Hansel here. Flood watches continue in Charleston today and don't expire until 2 a.m. tomorrow. We had some heavy and very heavy rain again last night impact areas of the state, and also some flood advisories, flood warnings, and some far-stretching flash flood warnings already impacting some of us for the morning drive. We say turn around, don't drown all the time. It's for good reason. If any flooded roadways occur, do not drive through those, as today will be our last day with some flash flood potential for a while. There's also some severe thunderstorm potential too, marginal to slight risk for isolated to scattered severe storms, hail, and damaging winds, along with some more risks of very heavy rain. The blues and purples in there, 1 to 2 inches with locally higher amounts that are still possible through tonight. A slight risk of excessive rain through tonight for flash flood potential. Again, what the radar may look like from earlier this morning, we have this stationary front out there. There's another surface cold front to the north dropping in. That will help to finally move this stationary front out of here, but that doesn't happen until very early tomorrow morning. Fly Serbia forecast, it starts at home. Chicago 69, got some air quality alerts out there today. Washington, D.C., also a slight risk of severe thunderstorms there, high near 80. From Panhandle to Panhandle, rain likely, chance of storms. Be mindful of risks of flooding, flash flooding, and some isolated severe, lows near 60. Rainstorms likely, risk of flash flooding and severe to the east, lows mid-50s to near 60. From east to west, locally very heavy amounts of rain are still a possibility. Never drive through any flooded roadways if those happen. We had some flash flood warnings earlier this morning. Southern areas, chances for showers and storms as well. Charleston near 62. Flood watch in Charleston until 2 a.m. Very slight chance of an isolated storm tomorrow, but we are going to trend drier after tonight. For the weekend, we have highs in the 70s and 80s and a lot of sunshine in the long term through early next week.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
City with news from across the state. This is Metro News Midday, presented by Salango Law, with 13 News and Tonight Live anchor Amanda Barron and Metro News' Dave Allen.
Welcome to the 2 o'clock hour. It's Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Open Line West Virginia. Your calls and text 1-800-765-TALK or text 304-TALK-304. Keeping a close eye on the weather all across this great state of West Virginia. Meteorologist Bryan Hughes is going to join us to talk about that in just a bit. It's Metro News Midday.
Metro News Midday is presented by Salango Law. SalangoLaw.com. Join in by calling 800-765-8255 or text 304-TALK-304. Let's go live to downtown Charleston. Here's Dave Allen.
It's a stormy Wednesday across the great state of West Virginia. It's Metro News Midday. We'll be joined by Metro News meteorologist Bryan Hughes coming up about 15, 20 minutes or so to get a update on what's going on. They say if we can make it through the end of the day and this evening, we're going to have Bryan promised me we're going to have a stretch of beautiful, beautiful weather starting tomorrow and going all the way through this weekend. And hopefully the weather hasn't impacted too much overall the state softball tournament, which got underway out at Little Creek Park in South Charleston earlier this morning. By the way, you can hear all the action, follow all the action, watch all the video highlights at WVMetroNews.com. We've got Greg Thomas in with us right now. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
First time that I've had you on since the election a couple of weeks ago.
We did have that a couple of weeks ago.
That was a thing.
I know you took a little trip.
I did.
You were gone for
Just
a
got
bit.
back from vacation. Yeah.
Had a good time?
I had a very good time. As we were talking off the air, any place that I can go, the ocean's nice,
Yeah.
but if there's good food and good drink, I'm pretty much happy. I can look at the ocean on YouTube,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. We took a little trip. We went to Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix Formula One race.
Really?
And my son's into sort of motorsport stuff. He was racing go-karts there for a while, and so I got him some tickets to that for Christmas, and we went up. And it's awesome, man. It was a really cool race, and I don't know if you've been to Montreal. It's
I've never. No.
It's like they speak French, right? I mean, it's a real international like city, and the kids had a good time, and it was a good family trip, man. So it was nice to get a little
Especially
time
after
away.
the election, you got to put all that behind.
Yeah,
you.
you just need to, just disconnect from that stuff. This election was terrible. You know what I mean? I think it was just terrible. It was the thing about it was, it wasn't like a lot of times in a general election, right? It'll be like terrible for the Republicans or terrible for the Democrats. Like this was just terrible for everybody, right? It was a terrible experience. You had these outside special interest groups that spent like $4 million just running the grossest, most perverted, racist, terrible campaigns they could run. And then nothing happened, right? It was like you had no. You essentially elected the same people. The state Senate stayed the same, right? It's $4 million and there was no change. The House side, there was, a couple wins, couple losses. The only really big change after this election was we lost the Republicans have lost control of the judiciary, right? The Republicans no longer control the state Supreme Court or the intermediate appellate court. And there's a few reasons for that, right? I mean, one, Democrats are just fired up right now nationally, right? I mean, the Democrats are excited. Even here in West Virginia, they didn't have a ton to vote for, and they still voted at a much, much higher percentage than Republicans did. Republicans didn't come out because there was this gross out campaign. I think that was part of the strategy of the other side was to say, hey, we're just going to run such a terrible campaign and not talk about anything that anybody wants to talk about, and maybe they'll just stay home. And it worked. And then we closed Republicans closed the primary, so independents couldn't participate. And essentially the Republican or the Democrats and the independents teamed up to vote against, Morrissey's appointees on the state Supreme Court.
It was interesting to me to hear the comments. It's one of those things, and I guess this is political theater at its finest, when both sides, kind of in some ways kind of took a victory lap and said, "Well, this was great for us."
We didn't take a victory lap.
Well, okay.
we didn't take a loss either, right? I mean,
okay.
Fair. If anybody who took a victory lap after that election is somebody. If you had to go tell everybody you won, you didn't win, right? Like you just didn't. And there were the only winners in this election really were the Democrats and independents that elected new people to the state Supreme Court. I mean, the Democrats won our primary because not only did they win control of the court, which is one of three branches of government in the state, but they also watched Republicans nominate some of the worst possible candidates, knowing that Democrats are going to pick up seats in the fall, right? I mean, the big winner on this election was the Democratic Party in West Virginia. That's the only party that really won.
Were you surprised at the results of the Supreme Court? Because we haven't spent quite as much time talking about that.
Yeah, definitely, because I think most people just thought, okay, well, here's, Morrissey's appointees to the court were really probably two of the best, things he's done as governor was appointing Titus and Tommy Ewing to the state Supreme Court, and then couldn't get them reelected. Couldn't get them elected after the appointments. So I mean, it's a real.
Why do you think that is?
Because of what I said earlier. I mean, we Democrats are excited. We closed the primary, so independents would not vote with us. And heck, I'd been on your show where we talked about that. We took a poll. One of the groups I worked with took a poll back in January and asked independents, like, okay, if the Republicans close the primary, what are you going to do? And 3/4 of them said, we're going to vote against Republicans. And the first chance they got to do that was the primary judicial elections, and they did. Right. They weren't lying. They weren't lying.
Was the turnout about what you expected it would be?
No, it was low. I mean, we knew. I call it a gross out campaign, and what I mean by that is, and you saw they spent the $4 million. Yeah. Essentially, they spent $4 million taking credit for things they didn't do, and then blaming other candidates and accusing them of stuff they didn't do either. Right? It was like the whole thing was just a can of lies and deception to be like, I did it. Like, they were lying when it was like, well, I did this, and you're like, you didn't do that. And then the other side would say, oh, they voted to let boys play in girls sports when they actually did the exact opposite. But they ran that kind of campaign because they were hoping nobody would show up, right? They were like, hey, if nobody shows up, maybe we'll have a chance. And what ended up happening was it was just a wash, right? It was a wash. And so now you're seeing, people for the other side. I know Randy Smith's out-of-state hitman was one on the other shows earlier today. trying to take credit and say, oh, yeah, we won. We're the champions. It's the best ever. But they didn't win. They didn't win. Like, it's just a wash. It's just the status quo. We went into this election hoping we would pick up enough seats to change leadership in the Senate. And after we realized they were spending $4 million, we changed our expectations. And it was like, shoot, man, we're not gonna win a bunch of seats here. Let's just try to make sure we don't lose any, and maybe we win one or two. We didn't lose any. And now you're seeing these guys go out and do this, try to take a victory lap when they didn't win. You know what I mean? They didn't. I mean, I'll tell you this. I do this for a living. If somebody had given me $4 million and I didn't pick up any seats, I'd hear about it. But
Yeah.
I promise you that. And they are too, which is why they're doing this little fake victory lap thing. And the reality is they spent $4 million. They had a very short-sighted strategy that essentially produced no wins, no losses, and then in the legislature, and then we lost control of the judiciary. A lot of this is, some of these guys that are working for Randy Smith and these guys that came in and ran these really libelous, just terrible ads. These are guys from Virginia that essentially got run out of Virginia because they ran these kind of campaigns. They would elect the lesser Republican in a primary. They have conventions over there more than primaries, and they would elect the lesser candidate, and then the Democrats would win in the fall. And that's why these guys are in Virginia now, or West Virginia now, because they got run out of Virginia because they lost all these seats for the Republicans. And now they're about to do the same thing here, right? And so look, the reality is I ran this Republican State Senate caucus for a decade. I no longer run it. There's this new leadership team in. What I know is I never lost any seats to Democrats. We never had a net loss seats to Democrats in the decade. These guys have controlled it this will be their first general election. And let's just see what happens, right? Let's see what happens in the fall on the judiciary. Let's see, when the new Morrissey court comes in, we're going to get to see what kind of decisions this new court makes. And then we're going to get to see, do these guys pick up seats, or, do they pick up seats or can hold what we have after the November election?
I want to keep in mind, too, and again, we're talking with Greg Thomas, that in all this conversation post-election and the weeks leading up to the election, we're talking about somebody I think it was Pushkin that called it Republican on Republican crime. That's a pretty good way to put it. This is one party we're talking about, okay? So, but I know what you're going to say. I can tell by looking at your face, but is it really one party?
Well, it's not. I mean, it's what this election was less about a party divide and more just about out-of-state interests with out-of-state consultants and out-of-state money that ran a campaign to try to elect the lesser candidate in West Virginia, where they essentially just smeared the name of good people. I mean, heck, you saw Dr. Steve Eschenauer in that ad they put with his kids in the ad. I mean, that's gross, man. Like, that's not something that West Virginians would do to other West Virginians, and they didn't. But these weren't West Virginians, right? These were out-of-state interests that came in and ran these campaigns. The big question I asked myself, what was that $4 million for? Like let's say if they actually were successful, which they weren't. Let's say they were successful. What were they going to do? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? What's the agenda? What's the things that someone's tried? Like what are the things that we're not doing today that we would have done if they would have gotten all their people in? What are those things? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's genuinely a question. And they were never able to answer it, right? West Virginia is one of 4 states in the country that has lost jobs in the last 24 months. Since they beat Craig Blair and since Patrick Morrissey won the Republican nomination for governor, we're one of 4 states in the country that has lost jobs.
Now, how is that possible, though? Because
what do you mean? Well, all we talk about is trans stuff and banning food dyes, and this is like every other state in the country has a plan to try and create jobs. We don't. We don't have a plan to do anything other than try to win, primary elections where 17 people come out and vote. That's the plan. The plan is to keep power,
right,
and to keep control. The plan is to gain power and keep control. The plan's not to create jobs. The plan's not to do anything to improve the state and move it forward. That's not what they care about. The out-of-state interests don't care if we have jobs here. They don't care. They want to pass their radical agenda of whatever the social issue is or whatever the thing. They have things that they want to do nationally, and they want to leverage things that happen in state to be able to do something in a much bigger, more important state than us. And we sit here and have no jobs. Our economy is terrible in West Virginia.
Would you say this is not something that was really part of all this, but I'm just kind of curious. Shelley Moore Capito, of course. I mean, I don't think it was to anyone's surprise that she won her primary. Were you surprised by the margin of victory?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, she, the people that were running, the people that were running those ads against the other Republicans stayed out of that race because they knew they couldn't beat her, right? No, Morrissey, Morrissey still pointed, he still supported Willis, but, not in a big way, and they didn't put any money on it and things like that. So, I just, look, Shelley's, I think this is going to be the thing that whether it's 2 years from now, 4 years from now, we're going to look back and say, oh my gosh, how terrible was that? I mean, I'm saying it today, right? But
write it down.
I think write it down, and everyone else 4 years from now, it'll be like, oh my gosh, can you believe we did that? You know what I mean? It's like, I can't believe, it'd be one of those things that you look back on your life and say, I can't believe we got through that. What a terrible experience that was. But we will get through it. We'll get through it. West Virginians are resilient. We've overcome worse before. It may take a cycle or two. I don't really know. I'm thinking, I would guess, look, I don't know. And I'm not, I'm not going to help any Democrats or anything crazy. I mean, I'm not going to go bail out some of these lunatics that won in the primary like I did last time, which was a mistake. But, I think that if you have some really bad Supreme Court decisions in the fall and you lose a bunch of state legislative seats, it'll start to wake up our party. Okay. That'll be the kind of thing that starts to wake people up.
All right, Greg Thomas, I got to leave it there. Appreciate you being here, my friend. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, man.
It's 2:20. We'll check in with Metro News meteorologist Bryan Hughes on the stormy weather in West Virginia. When we come back, stay with us.
We'll be right back. This is Metro News Midday. Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Nasal obstruction, stuffiness, blockage. Is it allergy? Is it sinus? A lot of times it may be both. The Delview Medicine Sinus and Allergy Center is a clinic where we house all specialties that take care of allergies and sinuses together. You name it, we have it. It's one-stop shopping. Anything ENT that needs done for the citizens of West Virginia, we can provide that care.
Sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
Looking for a show that talks about everything? You found it.
By the way, I'm really happy to talk about this as opposed to Ryan's opinion that being a sports fan is a bad thing.
He said that it kept him from being stressed about it, not that it was a bad thing. They didn't have the stress. And, I mean, I've seen you pace.
Yeah, you're only 30 and you look like that.
So true.
Join Dave Weekly and Coop weekdays for Hotline on Metro News Television.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. Take your pick from our massive selection. Now up to $5,500 off select new Acadias and 3.9% for 60 months. The great deals continue with our large selection of quality pre-owned vehicles. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
Welcome back to the show, 224. We will get to Open Line West Virginia coming up at the bottom of the hour. Stephanie Pauly, Matt Guitar Murphy, our producers today. Meteorologist Bryan Hughes is producing some wicked weather and some floods in some parts of West Virginia. We always blame the weather guy. How you doing, man?
You can blame me all day long. I'll accept the pain and the ridicule.
Well, if you're going to accept the sunny weather that we're going to have starting tomorrow and gorgeous weather in most of West Virginia through the weekend, you gotta, kind of level up on this too. What are we seeing out there right now?
Well, I can tell you this, from Hamlin to just out Wayne, south of Wayne specifically, we've got a very strong thunderstorm that continues to move off to the east. If there is any thunderstorm that's capable of producing severe weather in the form of gusty winds, it would be that's just south of the Hamlin and Harts area at the moment. Also, strong thunderstorm, Alum Creek area coming up on 119. That is just south of the tornado area and working its way closer to the Southridge area of Kanawha County. Other areas of thunderstorms are going to be some that are moving into the New Martinsville area out of Ohio. That has produced flash flooding in those areas. Other thunderstorms are going to be out there around Riffle, just northwest of Sutton, moving off to the east. Burnsville, you're going to get impacted by some of those. And then as we go into the parts of the upper section of the Greenbrier Valley, back around Snowshoe, lightning strikes happening up there right now, back to Seneca Rocks. And then also Philippi, you've got some showers and storms that continue to move off to the east, and they're going to move off to the east just around and north of the Parsons area. But more than anything, any of these thunderstorms today are capable of producing flooding and rainfall because we've had enough rain over the last about the last week that things are pretty waterlogged. But there's a layer of very dry soil that's really hampering the absorption process that's down underneath the surface. Once we can sort of get that moistened up a touch, the ground would soak up a little bit more, but that wouldn't be until after these rains have stopped for a while. The good news is everything's so green that the grass is doing its job. So are the trees, the bushes, and the shrubs. They're absorbing a lot of this water, else this would be completely runoff. But the flash flood watch continues for most of West Virginia into the nighttime hours. And a severe thunderstorm watch continues until 9 o'clock for almost all of West Virginia, except for the Morgantown, Fairmont area, Moundsville, Wheeling, and back over to Petersburg and back into the eastern panhandle. No severe thunderstorm watch at this time.
Now, yeah, I was going to say, I know earlier we had some, as you said, some flash flooding being reported. I know early this morning there were reports out of Roane County that there was some high water issues.
Yeah.
And we actually, in the beginning of the show today, Chris Lawrence had done an interview with him. I think it was the emergency services director there in Gilmer County, that they had some high water issues there. So what you're saying is basically because this is not really river flooding per se or anything like that. This is just where the ground is so saturated. I mean, it's rained, like buckets, a couple times a day. It seems like since late Wednesday, Thursday of last week, and they just can't hold a lot of water right now, and that's what the issue is.
Right, it really is. Once you get this topsoil layer saturated, unless you have a ground that is relatively moist below that topsoil layer, it's not going to absorb very much. I mean, when you're in a drought situation, that is where you're not just looking at topsoil that's dry. You're looking at ground that's very hardened underneath that topsoil. When that happens, it's just like concrete underneath this layer of mud. It's not going to absorb anything. But once you can slowly get that moistened up, then the ground's going to be able to absorb more of it over time. But, time is not what we have on our side right now. What we have on our side, and I say on our side, what we have happening right now is lots of water coming down. So that's where you're going to have the extreme runoffs that are going to be happening, like on Route 33. We saw some of the flooding that happened there, number of houses that were cut off from the rest of society because of all the water that was running down the highway and across the road and everything else. But as we go into this evening, listen, we should be very, very glad, Dave, that we are not in southern Ohio or northeast Kentucky, because they have had over the last week anywhere from 5 to 8 inches worth of rain over the last week. In much of West Virginia, those numbers are anywhere from 2 to 4 to 5 inches. But any place you've seen 5 inches over the last week, yeah, you're going to be very prone to some flooding.
All right. Metro News meteorologist Bryan Hughes, appreciate you being here, being safe. We'll get all this out of here and have a gorgeous 3-4 days in a row or so in West Virginia. Great news for the state softball tournament. A lot of the outdoor activities going on as we head into the weekend. Bryan, appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
All right, we will take a break. When we come back, it's Open Line West Virginia. You're listening to Metro News Midday. Stay with us.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Greer Industries, improving people's lives for more than a century.
Meteorologist Joe Hansel here. Flood watches continue in Charleston today and don't expire until 2 a.m. tomorrow. We had some heavy and very heavy rain again last night impact areas of the state, and also some flood advisories, flood warnings, and some far-stretching flash flood warnings already impacting some of us for the morning drive. We say turn around, don't drown all the time. It's for good reason. If any flooded roadways occur, do not drive through those, as today will be our last day with some flash flood potential for a while. There's also some severe thunderstorm potential too, marginal to slight risk for isolated to scattered severe storms, hail, and damaging winds, along with some more risks of very heavy rain. The blues and purples in there, 1 to 2 inches with locally higher amounts that are still possible through tonight. A slight risk of excessive rain through tonight for flash flood potential. Again, what the radar may look like from earlier this morning, we have this stationary front out there. There's another surface cold front to the north dropping in. That will help to finally move this stationary front out of here, but that doesn't happen until very early tomorrow morning. Fly Serbia forecast, it starts at home. Chicago 69, got some air quality alerts out there today. Washington, D.C., also a slight risk of severe thunderstorms there, high near 80. From Panhandle to Panhandle, rain likely, chance of storms. Be mindful of risks of flooding, flash flooding, and some isolated severe, lows near 60. Rainstorms likely, risk of flash flooding and severe to the east, lows mid-50s to near 60. From east to west, locally very heavy amounts of rain are still a possibility. Never drive through any flooded roadways if those happen. We had some flash flood warnings earlier this morning. Southern areas, chances for showers and storms as well. Charleston near 62. Flood watch in Charleston until 2 a.m. Very slight chance of an isolated storm tomorrow, but we are going to trend drier after tonight. For the weekend, we have highs in the 70s and 80s and a lot of sunshine in the long term through early next week.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
If it matters in West Virginia, it's being talked about here.
I always said I was going to move to a mountain in Tucker County, but probably going to put a data center on it, so I got to find a new plan.
Oh, you did not.
Oh, I did. Told you I was a little grumpy today.
Oh, man, you got some zingers today, Dave. I love it.
Join Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows Monday through Friday for Talk Line. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at WVMetroNewsTV.com. With Metro News Hotline, if it's trending, it's probably here.
And then the other thing, his last name is one of those weird Norwegian names where they have two vowels that slam into each other. It's like the A and the E are like cemented into each other.
You're like the 12th Dave that works here. What do you think people from Norwegian think about that?
That is fair.
Join Dave weekly and Coop weekdays for Hotline on Metro News Television.
Foundation with support from United Healthcare.
This is Metro News Midday, presented by Salango Law. SalangoLaw.com.
Welcome back to Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit SalangoLaw.com. Matt Guitar, Murphy, Stephanie Pauly, our producers today. Open line, West Virginia, 1-800-765-TALK. That is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. And again, it's a stormy day here in West Virginia. And we just checked in with Metro News meteorologist Bryan Hughes. Do want to remind you that Bryan Hughes is on our team now on the radio, and his team of meteorologists are on all of your connected screens, too, giving you the latest weather updates. Join us for our newest venture, Metro News Television weather, available exclusively on Metro News Television. Make sure you download the app today. And keep a close eye on the skies. I'll just, during the commercial break there, I walked outside. And here in downtown Charleston, not doing anything right now, man, we had some heavy, heavy downpours that rolled through the area earlier this morning. Then it was kind of quiet for a while. You get that sun, and you don't have to be Bryan Hughes, although it helps, to be able to detect when you got this storminess in the atmosphere. You don't want sun. That's the one thing you don't want. And right now it's kind of cloudy here in downtown Charleston. But as Bryan said, on the outskirts of Charleston, there are some severe weather, popping up in places out towards South Ridge, and he mentioned some of those other places around the state of West Virginia. And that's likely to be the case through at least the late evening up to about midnight tonight. Then after that, man, it is looking really, really fantastic starting tomorrow and heading through at least the weekend. So that is good news. And I mentioned earlier that the state softball tournament is going on as we speak at Little Creek Park. Started earlier this morning, as a matter of fact, and you can follow all the action, listen to all the games at WVMetroNews.com. Got video highlights. Joe Mercado, Kyle Wiggs, Luke Wiggs, Fred the First, the original OG, Fred the First, Fred the Second. They're all out there covering all the action of the state softball tournaments out at Little Creek Park in South Charleston. 1-800-765-TALK. That is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. Text says, Greg Thomas criticizing out-of-state money is the very definition of irony, says the texter. Text, much has been said about the public school system in West Virginia. It's good to see a positive story about our public schools. I am going to presume that is in reference. Amanda and I talked about that a little bit earlier today. We have a story posted at WVMetroNews.com. State School Superintendent Michelle Blatt was talking about some positive things going on in our public schools in West Virginia. And look, it has been a difficult few years for the public school system across America, but especially here in West Virginia. When you think about it, you take off your political lens for a moment and just look at it. First there was COVID. When the schools were locked down, and don't get me started on that rant, but we had that, and then many parents chose, for one reason or another, alternative methods to the schooling of their kids. And look, I'm a big believer that that's their right to do that if they wish. But bottom line is, it does end up hurting the public school system. And as I mentioned earlier, I had a conversation couple days ago with someone who is on a county board of education, and this gentleman just said, look, we are going to have a difficult couple of years because there's some major things that are going to have to happen financially, and schools are going to have to close, and it's not what people want, but it's out of necessity. So but it was, if you missed the interview we did during the 1 o'clock hour with this Jackie Hirsch, who was a principal at Pratt Elementary School here in Kanawha County. What a great story. I mean, she was this week's Wonderful West Virginian. We always appreciate those that nominate people. 42 years, and she's hanging it up in the school system. And you can go back and listen to that interview on your schedule. But the one thing I took away from that interview with somebody that's been in public education for 42 years in West Virginia is just how many changes that person has seen in the world of education. I had an educator one time tell me not long ago, a couple of years or so ago, that the public school system in America has changed more in the last 15 years than it did in the previous 30. And it's kind of a bold statement, but if you're a parent or a grandparent or you're an educator yourself, you know that's probably true. 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. Text says, Woody Woodpecker's favorite West Virginia town is Inwood. Hashtag the more you know. That got a collect. I can't hear what's going on the other side of the glass from Matt Murphy and Stephanie and Dave Weekly, but I just saw I just visualized a collective groan coming out of that room. That wasn't me. That was a texter that said that when we were talking to people in Inwood earlier. So in case you missed, thank you. In case you missed it, Woody Woodpecker's favorite West Virginia town is Inwood. Thank you. Please take that away from him. 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. Text says, is it raining outside or is it Greg Thomas's tears? That's a texter. Text says, nice billboard of you guys in Greenbrier County. Would be better if they took you off of it and just put Amanda on it. Well, I can't disagree with that. I mean, half the billboard looks okay. You know, a buddy of mine that, big shout out to my man Jason Morgan with the Greenbrier County Clerk's Office, who sent me a text the other day and said he was driving down there and he said, I looked up and I saw meaning me, your giant face on a billboard in Greenbrier County, and I almost ran off the road. And dude, I would have done the same thing. I would have said, my God, get that off there. Leave the girl up there. Get the dude off there. 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. Text says, listening to these people try to explain how they lost the election is funny. Just admit you don't know what you're doing. I don't know what side that is aimed toward. I guess it could be either one. I did like Greg Thomas's quote, though. He said that if you have to go around telling people that you're in charge or you won, you're not in charge and you didn't win. And I think that is true of a lot of things well outside the world of politics as well. Text says, LMAO, and you all repeating TJ's commentary, and he's not even around to expound upon it. He must have it in his contract that WVRC Media plays commentary 3 times a day. Actually, in his contract, we have to air it 7.5 times a day. It's 7.5. The one that rolls between 3 and 3:30 a.m. we cut off. That's per the contract with TJ Meadows. Text says, since West Virginia is replacing its agriculture sector with data centers, I think it's appropriate that the flag reflects this change. The man representing agriculture should be replaced by a person representing data centers. Text, all this wild weather, but no, climate change isn't real. A little sarcasm, I think. Look, it's springtime in West Virginia, all right? I have stated up on numerous occasions my opinions on climate change. On one hand, there's some wacky stuff going on. On the other hand, I don't know how much man is responsible for it, but I'm also not a scientist. I leave it up to the sensible scientist, and I ain't sensible nor a scientist. Text says, the acid mine drainage recovery sounds a lot like clean coal projects, in that it comes off as another marketing gimmick to keep coal in business. Text, you're either born a boy or a girl. You can't change it, says the texter. Text says, hey, Dave, about our Logan Wildcats. Yeah. My alma mater, the softball team, not only picked up a win, first game of the tournament today, but it pitched a no-hitter as well. So congratulations, Lady Cats, number 1 seed. Congratulations to all the teams for making the tournament, by the way. Got to get that in there. Text says, you know what I think is great? The U.S. funds Israel's defense and weapons programs. Israel provides its citizens with universal, publicly funded health care. This is the case with most countries that the U.S. funds. It's time for America to provide Americans with universal, publicly funded health care and quit sending our money overseas. 1-800-765-TALK. That is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. I do want to let you know quickly, and I mentioned this yesterday, about something we're going to be doing here, WVRC Media Charleston. It's 1 week from tomorrow. It is our annual Drop Your Snacks event. It's a drive-through event, and we do 3 or 4 of these different drive-through events on our parking lots throughout the year for various causes. This one is going to be collecting snacks for the kids heading home for summer break. Now, this is going to be next Thursday. Starts at 7 a.m. on our parking lot here, which is in downtown Charleston, 1111 Virginia Street East, just up the street from Charleston Catholic High School. We're teaming up with Union Mission to help feed kids during the summer break. Now, you can drop off your donations. Non-perishable food items is what we are looking for. We can also accept cash or check donations through Union Mission. The folks from Jason Quintrell and the folks from Union Mission will be on site with us. So if you are in the area and you want to come in and you want to make a cash donation, whether it's $500 or it's $2, we'll take whatever you got. The only time we touch it is when we physically hand it over to Jason and the folks. I think there's a court reason why radio people can't touch cash. I don't know. But anyway, and you can also go online. The website's wefeedpeople.com, and you can donate there. And again, all of our stations here, WVRC Media Charleston, are involved. We really believe that mantra, what you hear, the slogan, we're proud to live here too, West Virginia-based company. We believe in giving back to West Virginia people. And all of our clusters do similar type things throughout the year. But this one is going to be next Thursday, June 4th, 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. on our parking lot, 1111 Virginia Street East here in Charleston, teaming up with the Union Mission to collect some snacks. We will take a break and come back after this.
We'll be right back. This is Metro News Midday. Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off, or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
Download Metro News Television on your iPhone or Android. Search Metro News Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Nasal obstruction, stuffiness, blockage. Is it allergy? Is it sinus? Odd times it may be both. The Delview Medicine Sinus and Allergy Center is a clinic where we house all specialties that take care of allergies and sinuses together. You name it, we have it. It's one-stop shopping. Anything ENT that needs done for the citizens of West Virginia, we can provide that care.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
If it matters in West Virginia, it's being talked about here.
I always said I was going to move to a mountain in Tucker County, but probably going to put a data center on it, so I got to find a new plan.
Oh, you did not.
Oh, I did. Told you I was a little grumpy today.
Oh, man, you got some zingers today, Dave. I love it.
Join Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows Monday through Friday for Talk Line. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at WVMetroNewsTV.com.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Council.
Welcome back to the show. 12 away from 3 on a Wednesday afternoon. Metro News Midday heard all over the great state of West Virginia. Great radio stations like our flagship here in Charleston, WCHS, WJLS in Beckley, WD&E in Elkins, WKMZ Clarksburg, WVW Logan, WKLP in Kaiser, WAJR Morgantown, WEPM Martinsburg, WKKX and WVLY in Wheeling, and WSLW in White Sulphur Springs. It is on one of those stations that I had the pleasure of working for 20 years, and that's WVW in Logan. And I just want to throw this out there for the folks listening in Logan. The WVW radio family lost a true icon over the last couple of days with the passing of the gentleman we called Mo, the producer Pennington. And Mo is an interesting story in the world of broadcasting because he was a coal miner, and he retired from the coal mines. And he was bored, basically. And he was top of the line Logan Wildcat fan, season ticket holder to all the sports. He would have been at Little Creek Park right now for the state softball tournament. That's after he retired, of course. But he got bored in his retirement. And, of course, it's Logan. Everybody knows everybody. And he loved our radio station, WVW. And so he talked to Speedy Bevins, who was a general manager there at the time, into hiring him part-time. And Mo had very little interest in being on the radio. That's not what he wanted to do. He wanted to be behind. Now, he would make an occasional appearance on a commercial or, he'd chime in with something. But primarily, he wanted to be a producer. He wanted to push the buttons. That's what he enjoyed doing. Loved running ball games, and some stations it's automated, but some stations actually have a body in there, pushing the button. He loved that sort of thing. They still have a local talk show there called What's Your Opinion that airs 9:30 to 10 and has, for decades. It goes back to the 50s, 60s, something like that. And Mo got his name, Mo the producer, because he produced that show every day. And just a first-class individual, an all-around great guy. He moved to Florida over the last couple of years, but he listened to the station, not only that station, but our station here in Charleston via the app. And occasionally I would get a Facebook message from her. He'd text me and just say, hey, listening to it. And he's like Mark Curtis. He had to tell us how good the weather was in Florida when we had snow or whatever here. But he was a quality individual, and I just wanted to throw that out there to the WVW family because, again, that's one of our affiliates down there for this show and Talkline, other programs as well. You lost a good one in Mo the producer Pennington, a quality individual. And you don't get any better than Mo and his wife Sue. So our thoughts and prayers go out to his wife Sue and his kids. Has a son named Chad Pennington, by the way. Not that Chad Pennington. It's a different one, as he would always say. But he always said, well, if I can get money out of it, then yeah, the football player Chad Pennington's my son. But R.I.P. Mo, the producer, Pennington. 1-800-765-TALK. That's the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. Text says, Greg Thomas, keep up the great work pointing out how badly the West Virginia Republicans have run the state. I bet Pushkin would consider putting you on the payrolls. That's a texter. Text says, hey, Dave, this country is doomed. Let's go have a beer or two. There you go. There's the spirit. There's the spirit. Text says, the people are speaking in your beloved Putnam County about data centers. They don't want them. I saw on the news a packed house full of people who don't want them there. We talked about that last hour, and we talked to C.D. Caldwell, who is the director of technology with Putnam County Schools, and he kind of took it from a different direction, talking about the job impacts that it could have. Look, I will say, and it's probably this way in other areas of the state or around the country where data centers are being debated, there are a lot of people that are speaking out against them. There are a lot of people that are speaking for them. I can tell you, as somebody who lives in Putnam County. I was going to say lived and worked, but I worked in Kanawha County. But I live in Putnam County, been there for 12 years. There's a heck of a lot of people that support him. Now, obviously, if you're trying to stop something, you're going to show up in numbers. But there's a lot of people in Putnam County, a lot, that support data centers. Text, remember when people said the Republicans were all turning against Trump? See Texas, MAGA, baby. Text, where did this humidity come from? It's hot in Fairmont. Well, it's a little sticky, probably wherever you are today, but it's going to get better. Text, there has never been a single political figure that has undergone as much BS as Donald Trump has. I feel sorry for him. If, says the texter, we destroyed Iran's nuclear capability, why are we still bombing them? All right, with that, we'll take a break because Mr. Weekly is in the on-deck circle and he's itching to get in here. We'll bring him in after this.
We'll be right back. This is Metro News Midday. Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Download Metro News Television on your iPhone or Android. Search Metro News Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Nasal obstruction, stuffiness, blockage. Is it allergy? Is it sinus? Odd times it may be both. The Delview Medicine Sinus and Allergy Center is a clinic where we house all specialties that take care of allergies and sinuses together. You name it, we have it. It's one-stop shopping. Anything ENT that needs done for the citizens of West Virginia, we can provide that care.
Sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
Download Metro News Television on your iPhone or Android. Search Metro News Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
Welcome back to the show. A couple of minutes away from 3 o'clock. It's Metro News Midday. powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. Matt Guitar Murphy, Stephanie Pauly, our producer today. Look who's here. It's Dave Weekly.
What's going on?
How you doing,
What's
man?
going on? I'm ready. I'm fired up.
Okay,
Let's do this thing.
So here is this would be an in or out for you. I was pointing out, and by the way, if you're watching on Metro News Television, I did not eat these in the control room. I brought them in here, but I did not eat them because we have a strict rule. I did not eat them, just for the record. My wife picked up this at, I don't know, TJ Maxx or somewhere. They're sweet chili flavored macadamia nuts.
I see they're marked down on the back.
Yeah, they're like 20 different markdowns on this thing. These things are incredible. They're not, I mean, it's
What are they again?
Sweet chili flavored macadamia nuts. It says pure indulgent macadamias with a hint of chili and a sweet finish.
There's nothing in that sentence that I dislike. That does sound like it'd be good.
It is sweet chili. I would prefer it to be a little bit hotter, but you're talking about the guy that puts Tabasco sauce in cereal. So I want everything hot.
I'm sure there's no additives in that.
Oh no, no, macadamia nuts are good for you. What's in this? Okay, I'm not eating. All right.
Exactly.
What you got on the show today?
Well, it's pretty exciting. WV is going to host a regional, right?
Yeah.
So
the Granville Invitational. As Dave
that's right. Yeah, that's right. So what would you rather? Would you rather WVU go to the College World Series in Omaha or make it to the Sweet 16 in the NCAA basketball tournament?
Interesting question. And speaking of food, I think you're in or out. Was that your in or out? Or
we're
was
talking
like
about
garlic parmesan.
Yeah, Doritos garlic parm.
In? Murph, you in? Stephanie's in. Garlic parm, it's my favorite wing flavor, so yeah.
It's available now everywhere.
All right, but not available in front of me because you didn't bring any in.
No.
All right, folks, keep a close eye on the weather. I know Bryan Hughes will be doing it for you. Mr. Weekly and the crew coming up with Hotline. See you tomorrow. Till then, have fun and love somebody.